Bob Arum says that Al Heyman is a fictional character created by Showtime. Does he have a point? Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Remstar Says So. Right, and cool, let's get right into this one because this is an absolute game changer. I was watching a video on YouTube the other day, um, and it was basically Errol Spence and Terence Crawford were backstage at some fight going at it, and they had sort of bet each other $1 million of their purse that the winner had to pay, the loser had to pay the winner. And then it was getting a bit heated and confrontational, and then out of nowhere, Bob Arum came out and he said to Errol Spence, he started speaking to Errol Spence, and Errol Spence said that Al Heyman isn't real. Bob Arum replied and said, "Have you ever met Al Heyman before? Have you ever spoken to this man?" And I think Errol Spence replied and said that he's met him once or twice. And Al Heyman was like, "You've met your own advisor twice throughout your career of working with him." And it left a really strange thought in my mind. Now, we don't know who the hell Al Heyman is. When I say this, is that we've seen pictures of a man, and this is a guy who we've been told is a legendary promoter and boxing advisor, but we don't have a clue if Al Heyman is actually Al Heyman and if he's doing the job that he's supposed to do. Um, because what Bob Arum said had my mind in overload. How do we know that Showtime hasn't just plucked a random black guy from absolutely nowhere and made him the face of this boxing promotional company, similar to what Uncle Ben's did with that random black guy on the front of their rice boxes? Um, because this man has never done an interview. Who we believe is Al Heyman. Now, I think that Bob Arum was probably chatting shit, but at the same time, it's got my whole mind in a daze doing somersaults. Is the man who we believe to be a legendary boxing promoter nothing more than a silent face? Is he a silent man? Is he getting paid to pretend to be this great boxing guru? I mean, like, what do you see of Al Heyman? You see pictures of him ringside at fights. You see pictures of him with certain fighters, but he's never done an interview, and he never has. He never has, and he never will. Bob Arum has criticized Al Heyman for never doing interviews, saying that you can't be a manager, a promoter, or an advisor and never do interviews. But clearly, if Al Heyman really is who we think he is, he's doing a half decent job. I mean, I think that that is the job of a promoter, a manager, and an advisor. You do your talking behind the scenes, in the negotiations, behind closed doors. You don't need to be there mouthing off, stealing the limelight from your fighter. Let your fighter soak that all up. As a promoter, your job is already done. The deal has been done. The only time a promoter really needs to speak is if the fight is on pay-per-view, really. If it's on regular cable, you're getting your fee regardless. I mean, you might get a bit of the back end of advert revenue, but your fees are pretty much set. Like, I don't know. Like, is Al Heyman who we think he is? Like, we've got this picture of this guy who's like a black man, light skinned, like late 50s, maybe early 60s, and that's all we know. Like, I want to have a conversation with this guy, but not on the phone, face to face. Al Heyman is like Charlie from Charlie's Angels. You don't really know who the hell you're dealing with. Like, he is a one big mystery. I imagine if he wasn't the person who we think he was, and Al Heyman was right. I mean, and Bob Arum was right, and Al Heyman is just this random dude. I mean, it's crazy. He's known as a boxing genius, and he probably is. I think that there's just a lot of hate coming from Bob Arum, but that left my whole mind in a flip because imagine if he was just chosen to be the face of a company and do nothing, and that's why he doesn't speak. What if this guy that we've been seeing for years and decades literally gets paid to go to boxing fights and sit ringside and rub shoulders with celebrities? What if this man doesn't know anything about boxing negotiations? What if Al Heyman was actually a white guy and he's using a black guy to try and sell to, the boxing audience? There's so many things, there's so many unanswered questions, and these questions will never be answered. But when you look at Al Heyman's client list, I think Bob Arum might be chatting shit. Most likely. You've got the likes of Gerald Washington, Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather, Deontay Wilder, Errol Spence, Danny Garcia, Mikey Garcia, Sean Porter. All of these guys wouldn't really just be reporting to a faceless man, would they? I don't know. Maybe they're all in on the act. I don't have a frigging clue what's happening. But all I know is that Bob Arum really rustled my feathers with this one. I think that the guy that we see as Al Heyman is Al Heyman. But if we found out one day down the line he was just the face of a company and Al Heyman is somebody else, it wouldn't surprise me that much either. Let me know your thoughts, guys. Have we been fed a mysterious Al Heyman? Is the guy that we believe Al Heyman? Is he actually Al Heyman? Or is Bob Arum just chatting shit because, he can't get these unification fights that he wants between PBC and ESPN Top Rank? Leave a comment, hit like, hit subscribe. That's the end of the show because Remstar says so.